Today at Rose Hill Gardens, we'd like to spend a little time talking about the use of ornamental grasses in the landscape. There are actually quite a few choices here, ranging from very tall background varieties to very small miniature varieties for the border. And the one we're standing by happens to be one of our favorites here for Northern Gardens. This particular grass is called Calamagrostis eldorado. And it has a combination of two great qualities. Very interesting leaf blades here with the white center and the green border. And a beautiful inflorescence at the top here. This is early July and the seed head has already formed, and this will remain actually throughout the winter. Hardy into zone 4. Reaches a height of about 4 feet by mid-season. And it is a clump former, meaning it isn't spreading underground by stolons. It's not an invasive type of grass at all. So this particular family, the Calamagrostis, would be one we'd highly recommend, especially for background in the landscapes. There are a couple other members of this particular family which are valuable. Karl Forster is a solid green form of this grass. Overdam is another one with the reverse variegation. And then Avalanche is another new cultivar of the Calamagrostis family. It has similar markings here to Eldorado, perhaps just a slightly shorter grass. We also have another group of grasses which are very valuable in the landscape. Group of grass called the Miscanthus. And in this particular case, we're looking at a very attractive variegated blade, and this is called gold bar. A lot of the zebra grasses traditionally can go 5-6 feet tall. Gold bar ultimately reaches a height of maybe 3 feet, and it does take a couple of years to get to that point. And with most of the Miscanthus grasses, it needs warm weather before it really begins its rapid growth in the summer. Another group of grasses that offer a lot of interest but are actually a little more challenging up in this climate are the Hackenicola grasses. This particular one is extremely showy with the golden blades. It's a cultivar called Aureola. Some advantages of this particular cultivar, or this type of grass, is that it stays relatively short, might reach a foot, 14 inches or so, but then begin to arch over in kind of a waterfalls fashion, which can be very attractive. Another particular attribute of this grass is that it can be grown in the shade, anywhere from full shade to part shade, and do very well. And especially given the fact that the leaves are very bright and golden, it can lighten up a darker spot. However, the real drawback here is hardiness. And in this part of Wisconsin, this particular grass is quite challenging, being anywhere from a zone 5 to possibly a zone 6 type of grass, which may call for some protection in the winter, a little bit of mulch to bring it through. Another interesting group of grasses is the family Carex, and in this particular example we're looking at a cultivar called Omi, and it only grows to about 2 feet tall, develops its seed head or inflorescence rather early in the season, which is nice, and it's also a grass that where the blades are changing color as the season progresses, beginning with a solid green blade early in the season. And then as the season wears on, a gold band begins to form on the edges and becomes more prominent as the season goes on. Another valuable attribute of this particular grass is that it's good for the shade gardener, as it will tolerate anywhere from full shade to several hours of shade and still look good. A couple other grasses to show you here, and these are grasses that are good for the perennial border, or in this case, the rock garden. The one we're looking at currently is Coleria glauca. It also goes by a nickname of Coolio grass. This particular grass has very nice blue-gray foliage, which is interesting. We find it as a good substitute for the blue fescue grasses, which have been very popular, but also the blue fescues, the center seems to die out the following year and not look as good. And our preference here is the coolio grasses. Another member of the Carex family, which we saw just a little bit ago, is one for the, really an excellent subject for the rock garden, is a cultivar called Evergold. And this one stays very tiny, has beautiful variegated foliage, very tight grass for the border or for small spaces. Finally, three interesting grasses, kind of specialty grasses that we also handle at Rose Hill Gardens. The first one here on my left is another example of one of the Carex grasses. Just a small golden form, golden Carex, that is good on the border or in the rock garden. Has a lot of color to it. Another one next to it here is a Carex grass also that stays quite small. Very interesting color. The grass may appear almost as though it's dead. This is actually its normal color, and has a catchy name of Bronzita. Also used a lot in containers. And finally, another specialty grass. This is a chorus. Beautiful variegated grass, quite easy to grow. Will grow to 2 to 3 feet tall. And a special characteristic of this grass is that it really enjoys a moist, almost wet environment. So if you have that difficult area near a pond or a bog or swampy area, this grass really would thrive in that environment. So that's a look at a lot of our grasses here at Rose Hill Gardens, and we invite you to stop out, take a look at the grasses growing in the landscape here, and we'd be glad to find that perfect grass for your landscape situation.